Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, if you guys are new to my channel, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload new videos. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my Common App activities, and I sent these to Stanford, Michigan, and Johns Hopkins. Of the schools that I was accepted to. Yeah, so these are Common App activities that kind of help me get into there. I think this is a really important part of your application. So if you guys are interested in seeing what activities I did in high school, then just keep watching. In this video, I won't be going through like how I worded or formatted my Common App activities because that's actually in my last video. So if you are interested in my kind of like thought process as I was like writing out and filling out this section, then just go ahead and watch that video. It'll be linked down below. Okay, so I just scooted over a little bit, so I'm going to be putting the activities right here so you can kind of follow along and just kind of see what I'm reading. I also want to preface that I went through a lot of these activities in my What Will Impress Stanford video that I did a while back, if you want to check out that as well, but still just be going through how it actually looks in this section. So I decided to order mine in order of importance, which also for the most part correlates to how many hours I spend in each activity. So for the most part, the activities that I spent the most hours in are towards the top, and then the ones that I spent the least hours in are towards the bottom. So this first activity, activity type was dance, and then the position leadership, so this one was my dance ensembles that I was in at my school, so it's my school name, and then dance ensembles. I was actually in two separate ensembles, junior and senior year, but I didn't have really enough room to put them both as separate ones, and since it's kind of the same idea, like what you're doing in each ensemble, then I just decided to put them in the same one. And then when I described the activity, I put training and performance experience in ballet, modern contemporary, Afro-contemporary, flamenco, African, Filipino, and baile folklorico styles. So I didn't do all those styles in each company, but overall, those are the styles that I did across the two. And then as I mentioned, I did this in junior and senior year, so 11th and 12th grade. And then I did it during the school year, and if you want to look at how I calculated the hours, just refer to my last video because it's kind of confusing. But basically, this is kind of the average amount of hours that I spent per year in each of the ensembles. And then do I intend to participate in a similar activity in college? I just put yes because I do plan to join some sort of dance group at Stanford. So moving on to my second activity, it's also a dance one, but this one was my companies that I was on before I came to my high school. So I put the name of my studio and then competitive dance companies. I just put competitive in there so they know that it was on like a more serious level than like just taking class and performing at like one recital at the end of the year. We actually competed at multiple competitions throughout the year. And then this description is pretty similar to the last one in style. It says trained and competed at regional and national level competitions in ballet, contemporary, jazz, lyrical, tap, and Bollywood styles. So I just put what we did and then kind of listed the styles that I was involved in, so you kind of see my breadth of experience and then how I actually performed those and the kind of training that I did. So as I mentioned, I did this before I was in the other ensembles in my school, so 9th and 10th grade, and this I actually did all year. We went through the summer and we had to do some sort of training over break sometimes and things like that. And then do I intend to participate in a similar activity in college? Yes, because it's just dance. So my third activity, aside from dance, is probably my most meaningful activity, and I mentioned this in my other video as well, but this is the science internship that I had. So what I put in the first line that was the activity type, it was research. And then I put the name of the organization and then summer research program for students because that was what the program was. Whenever I was describing the activity, I put that I was a paid research intern in a neuroscience lab investigating the effects of temperature on viral infection rates in zebra finches. That's just like a really short blurb about what my project was about. But I mentioned kind of the more specifics of it in another supplement, so that's why I didn't really include it there. And also I chose not to put the name of the university that I studied at in this part because I just didn't have enough room. Somebody had asked me that earlier, so that's why I just put neuroscience lab. And then participating grade levels, I did this the summer before my senior year, so I just put 12th grade and then I put that it was over school break. And then do I intend to participate in a similar activity in college? Yes, I plan to partake in some sort of research, hopefully maybe a professor's research or something like that outside of Stanford. I don't know, we'll see, but I hope to do something like that. So moving into my fourth activity, this is my main community service activity that I did. So activity type was community service, and what it was I was a dance teacher at, and then this is just the name of a local shelter near my house, and this was kind of my senior service project that I did. And when I described the activity, I put teach jazz dance classes to children recovering from violence, poverty, and other crises, because that I got that language I think from their website, so that's what their whole mission is. Participating grade levels, I put 12th grade because this was my senior project as I mentioned before. And do I intend to participate in a similar activity in college? I would love to teach dance if that was an option for me either as a volunteer thing or as a job. I just think it's really fun. And then my 5th activity is also a community service one, and this was kind of my like other main one that I did. So its type is community service, and then position, leadership, description, I was a volunteer at, and then I put the name of the company that I volunteered at, and then I basically did this like the month after my internship finished. So for the description, I put assisting in the provision of care and companionship to adults with a variety of mental and physical disabilities, because this company was a rehabilitation center for adults with these kinds of special needs. So another tip, if you didn't watch my other video about these descriptions, is just to keep it like short and simple. You don't really have a lot of characters, so you don't want to make anything confusing. I didn't use complete sentences, but I think it's still pretty clear what the activity is by just reading this short description. You want to make sure every word you're putting in there is meaningful. You're not putting in any fluff, because you just don't have a lot of characters, and you want the reader to still like know what you were doing. And then, do I intend to participate in a similar activity? Yes, I want to partake in just some kind of community service. But, you know, again, don't feel like you have to put yes for everyone if you don't actually have an interest in doing it. I didn't put yes towards some of them I wanted at the end. So my 6th activity is my main, like, school club that I was in that kind of was the most meaningful to me. So activity type was science and math, and I already put this one in my other video, but I was president of National Math Honor Society, and I chose to put just that leadership position in the first line, even though I wasn't president all 3 years, but then I indicate after that what grade I was actually president. But since it says leadership if applicable, I just decided to put the highest level that I was, because I couldn't fit all of them in this just one line. So I described the activity. I put tutor math students in Algebra 1 through Calculus BC concepts, and then I put kind of what my involvement was or leadership was each grade that I was in it, and I was in it for 3 years, which was all of the years that I was at my high school, because I actually went to 2 high schools. So I went to the one by my house my freshman year, and then I went to this performing arts high school the last 3. So I was in this the entire time that I was there. And then I intend to participate in some sort of like tutoring, like organization, or just some sort of math organization in college. So then I put yes that I would partake in it in college. So those first 6 were kind of like my main ones, and I think that probably the majority of people who are applying to top schools who are actually successful probably have the first like 4, 5, or 6 that are actually like their big ones that kind of just like showcase who they are and tell a lot about them as an applicant and as a person and what they did in high school. So everything after this, not that it wasn't important to me, but they were just things that I didn't have as much involvement in, or I didn't do when I was like a senior. I only did for a little bit, you know, things like that, but they were important to me at a point, so I still decided to include them. So because they were less important, as you can see in this one, I kind of grouped a lot of them together. So this activity type was academic, and these were just all the National Honor Societies that I was a part of, and I just put a member/officer of various National Honor Societies because I wasn't an officer in all of them. So I just put National Science, Spanish, and then just like the regular Honor Society. When I described it, I didn't really have enough room to put what I did in each, and I chose to group them together instead of giving them their own separate one, because again, I didn't really have enough room, and none of them were like that important to me to make its own separate one. I made math its separate one because I did a lot more work in that, and I was the president of that. I kind of like ran the organization when I was a senior, like closely with my teacher and mentor. So I don't know, these didn't really deserve its own, so that's why I grouped them together like this, but I still wanted to put them. So this is when my order kind of stops matching up in order of hours, because this Honor Society one has a total of 60 hours and the math one only had 36. But I was doing 36 hours over 3 years, and the other one was only 2 years and also split by 3 organizations. So to me, it's still pretty clear the math one was more important. So now we're just kind of like really focusing on order of importance and not really focusing as much on the hours. Okay, so my 8th activity was also a school club, and it was a community service club called Interact Club. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it. A lot of schools have it. And then I put the officer positions that I held. So I was secretary in 12th grade and treasurer in 11th, and I had room to put them all here as I didn't in the math one. Then I described it as a school club that participates in group community service activities at homeless shelters/pet orphanages. And then another section was attended leadership conferences as an officer. So it was kind of like 2 separate things. I had a lot more involvement in this as a sophomore and junior than I did senior year. So I wasn't as in it or like as passionate about it as I grew older, so that's why I chose to not make it one of like the top activities. So I did it through 3 years that I just mentioned during the school year, and then I intend to participate in some sort of community service activity in college, so I put yes for that one. So now we just have the second to last one. I just put other club activity, and this was just class council. So the weird thing about this one was that I was in it all 4 years, but I really was like not that involved the last 3 years that I was in it at my second school. But my first year when I was a freshman, I was vice president of my class, and we did a lot. We did like a lot of fundraising, a lot of like homecoming planning, like things for freshmen, things like that. So since I was really involved in it my first year, I still wanted to include it, but again, it's towards the end. It wasn't something that I had as much involvement as I did freshman year in like all 4 years, so that's why I put it here. So I put planning class activities and fundraisers, communicating student concerns to administration, advocating for improvement. So those are just like kind of general things that we did. And then I was in all 4 grades, as I just mentioned, and I intend to participate in some sort of like class representative thing in college. I don't know if really that's true anymore, but at the time I thought that I would really want to do that, but now I don't know, we'll see. And the last activity is speech and debate. So this was an activity that I was only in my freshman year. We had it at my second school, but it wasn't as like intense as this one. If you guys do debate in high school like competitively, you know, like with if you do like CX or like policy or a Congress style debate, so you know those kind of tournaments, we didn't have that at my second school. The second school was more like an informal thing, but at my first school, it's like really big, and I thought it was really cool, so I joined it my freshman year, and it was a lot of fun. It was cool. My friends who stayed in it like got super good, and they really liked it. But I put varsity policy in parentheses CX debate. I wasn't in varsity, I was in novice whenever I was a freshman, but I competed in some varsity level tournaments towards the end, so since that was my like highest level of like competition that I went to, I put that there. And then for the activities, I put competed in multiple local and regional tournaments. And then I put the name of this tournament, this specific tournament that we won. My partner and I, we won first place at, and then I also got an individual top speaker award there. And then, so I only did that during 9th grade, as I mentioned. I don't really intend to participate in this kind of activity in college, just because I haven't really done it for the last 3 years. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video where I went through my Common App activities, and maybe if you got a little bit of an idea of what a successful one looks like, because I know this section can be really difficult to get it where it looks all nice and pretty and everything and easy to understand, all that kind of stuff. So again, if you want any tips on how to format your Common App activities, just check out my last video where I go through how you should word it, being clear, like just kind of the way I did mine, if you like the way that I did it. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram so you can keep up with my life before I go to Stanford. I'm going to Stanford in 3.5 weeks, and I'm super excited. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you liked it. Comment below anything you want. Have you guys started your college applications? Are you applying anywhere early? And I will see you guys on Friday. Bye.